Now you go back to Raw Monday night, other than Cody crying, there was something else that happened on the show. There was a gauntlet match to crown a number one contender for Gunther in the Intercontinental title of WrestleMania. And it came down to the two favorites. It came down to the only two realistic options, Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. And I said going in, I was rooting for Chad Gable. My head was telling me Sami Zayn, based on how the storyline was going on TV with Sami cutting all these promos for weeks and weeks and weeks, and the fact that he had no other obvious match and they were not going to leave Sami Zayn off the WrestleMania card. So my head was saying it's probably going to be Sami. My heart was saying, boy, I hope it's Chad Gable, because he's got his own really great story. And they even had a little video package for him earlier in the show that was really good. And he mentioned his daughter in the last time he and Gunther were in the ring together. And I was hoping against hope that Gable would pull it off in the end. And he didn't. And Sami Zayn won. Now, Gable's shoulders were up off the mat, at least one of them. I don't think that was on purpose. I don't think that's going to factor into the story. I don't think they're going to turn it into a triple threat. But his shoulders were up, technically. But then when the match was over, there was a lot of mixed opinion online. Some people just don't like Chad Gable. They don't think he's worthy of the spot, and they were very happy to see Sami Zayn win. Other people, it's not that they hate Sami, it's that they were very upset because they thought they had a cool story there with Chad Gable, and it would have been a huge spot for him at WrestleMania, and they screwed the pooch on it. On his podcast, on his Hall of Fame podcast with his co-host Brad Gilmore, Booker T commented on Sami Zayn winning in the gauntlet match. He said, I talked to Sami Zayn actually on Tuesday morning. We were flying to Orlando and we were sitting next to each other on the plane. And I swear, the same thing like you just said, so many people were pulling for Chad Gable in that match. And Sami, I said, man, you know what? What a match. I said, what a match. You're going to look back on this one day and say that was the one. That was the one that catapulted me to the next. I don't know what he's talking about here because Sami Zayn was in the main event of WrestleMania last year. I don't know what next level Booker is talking about here, but he's putting over Sami. He's putting over Sami. He's putting over the match. And he claims that Sami was so upset about the online heat that he got from the fans. He said, he's like, man, I thought the fans loved me. And then the next thing you know, I see all this stuff. And I told him, man, you can't listen to that white noise. You got to think about how great that match was. And you're going to look back on it one day and say, man, that was some really good work that I did. But he was still feeling the heat. He let someone down just because the fans didn't think the match was as good as I thought it was. It's not a matter of people disliking Sami Zayn. And I would hope he understands that. I mean, Sami he's been in the business for so long and he's been part of this game for so long. I would certainly hope he understands that there's a distinction to be made here. Sami Zayn is one of the top babyfaces in the entire company. His storyline with the Bloodline cemented that. Okay, a year ago, he was challenging Roman Reigns for the Undisputed title in his hometown, headlining the Elimination Chamber. And then, even though he lost, he went on to headline night one of WrestleMania. He won the tag team titles with Kevin Owens, right? The Usos, 600 plus days as tag team champions, ended by Sami and KO. He got the glory. He may not have won the world title yet. He will. But he got a great payoff at WrestleMania last year. He was in one of the main events. No longer was Sami Zayn the underdog. No longer was he the underutilized one or the overlooked one. He made it. Fast forward to today, and Chad Gable is in that same spot. Now he's the underutilized one. He's the one who people overlook. He's the one with the story, with Gunther, telling him that you can't do it. You can't beat me. You're not good enough. You're a terrible father. You'll never make it. Sami got his moment last year. Now people wanted to see Gable get his, but that was taken from him. And they're back to telling the underdog story with Sami Zayn. I could have bought that if they would have stuck to him going after the world title. But along the way, as WrestleMania plans shifted and Brock Lesnar got pulled, and so that was the end of Gunther's opponent, whatever they had planned for Sami changed. I feel like had Punk not gotten hurt, it would have been Sami against Drew McIntyre, non-title, on the undercard of WrestleMania. With Sami trying to go in there and beat the one guy that he couldn't beat. I think that's what he would have done. And even after Punk got hurt, I feel like the plan was probably to take Sami and insert him into the world title match and make it a triple threat. And then that changed with the whole Rock situation. And they had no spot for Sami Zayn. And like I said, they're not going to leave him off the WrestleMania card a year after he just headlined the fucking show. So he got the spot against Gunther. But he is back to challenging for the same title that he has held before, with the story being, I need to be a champion again. I need to do something historic. I need to be the man to beat Gunther. But it doesn't work as well as the true underdog story. And it's hard to buy Sami Zayn as the underdog after all that this guy has accomplished. That's where a lot of the fan sentiment, a lot of the resentment is coming from. It has nothing to do with people no longer liking Sami Zayn. But I will say, if the plan is for Gunther to retain at WrestleMania, then it probably is for the best that things ended up the way they did, because Gable cannot afford to go in there and lose to Gunther for, what would it be, the third time, fourth time? If they were going to do Gable and Gunther at WrestleMania, Gable would have to win. And if they're not prepared to beat Gunther yet and take that title off of him, if that is the plan, if that is the finish, then it's better off that Chad Gable not be in that match. But I still felt, and I still feel, that the better story for Sami Zayn, for him and Gunther, is for Sami to be coming after him, not for the Intercontinental title. He should be coming after him a year from now at WrestleMania next year for the World Heavyweight title. That's the story for Sami Zayn. And so him going after this guy for the IC title, it doesn't pack the same punch. Because at this point, for all that Sami has done, the only thing left for him to really achieve, yeah, it'd be cool for him to say, I'm the guy that beat Gunther. But honestly, it's all about him winning the World Heavyweight title. That's going to be his story going forward. Chad Gable had his, and because of the position they put Sami in, he became the one to take that away from Chad. That's why he's getting some heat and some blowback from the fans. It has nothing to do with people disliking Sami Zayn. I would certainly hope he understands that.